Welcome to You, Me and the Counselling World, the podcast dedicated to student counsellors and their road to getting qualified and beyond. Today, I want to talk about unconditional positive regard. Can we show it to all clients, really? Hello, it is April. Gosh, where is the year going? I don't know about you, but isn't it going really quickly? It seems to be a quick year already, 2026, but it's lovely to be back and talking with you about a topic that I think is really important. I did my episode last time with regards to empathy and how to show empathy. And that episode had a lot of downloads. And so I thought to myself, maybe it would be worth us picking up a little bit more around the core conditions. So today I thought I would cover unconditional positive regard and have a little bit of a chat about that. But in the meantime, I hope you're all doing really, really well. I have been nice and busy and getting on with things, which has been really good. I've been enjoying the sun and yeah, it's been a lovely few weeks actually, so I'm enjoying that. Thank you to everyone that's been interacting with me on Facebook. It's been really great to sort of hear from some of you and for the lovely messages that you send and continue to send, very frequently. Thank you so much. It means a lot. The podcast is nearly at 50,000 downloads, so I'm really, really happy. I can't wait to hit that big magic number. So thank you so much for being here and spending this time with me. So, without further ado, I think it's time to have a real think about unconditional positive regard. So, what on earth is it, you may be thinking, if you've not heard the phrase before? Well, this was another of the core conditions as coined by Carl Rogers, and he decided to have a look at what is really essential in the counselling relationship. And he decided that there were three main core conditions and some hidden conditions. But today, and in this particular series right now, we're going to focus just on the three main core conditions. And I will talk about the others at a different point. So today is the turn of unconditional positive regard, which is UPR for short. And what's really important about this is it is, in my mind, absolutely fundamental. In order to build a safe and therapeutic relationship, clients need to feel that we're not judging them. No matter what they've done, no matter what choices they've made in their lives, it's so important that they can come into a therapy space and feel completely safe. We can be really, really transparent and we can ensure that we are not judging them. So it's about what we do with our judgments, because as humans, we all judge sometimes. When we see people for the first time, when you bump into somebody in the street, it's a human reaction will be to judge and have a judgment and a first thought about somebody. Now, the difference with unconditional positive regard is that, yes, we may have those internal judgments, but it's what we do with them that is really important with our clients. So it's about us seeing the other person as a human being, as another worthwhile human being in front of us, and fully accepting who they are and without conditions. So it's about making sure that we're able to stay with them and not judge them. And we are going to accept them. And we will recognise that although we're not going to necessarily condone somebody's actions, we can recognise that as another human, there is value. We see them as another human in front of us. And this is what enables us to work with people that maybe have done some things in the past that would be hard and not very difficult to hear about. But actually, we're able to look at them as another individual and another person and a human and recognise that the person sat in front of us may have made those choices in their lives, but it's probably because of other factors. And so it's this innate belief that humans are good people and that we're going to not judge them for their actions, regardless of what they have done. So how do we make sure that that message is being communicated to our clients, that this is a safe space for them where we're not going to judge them. We're not going to think badly of them. We're just going to really appreciate them being in the room with us and spending that time with us, because my gosh, what an honour it is to sit in that chair and listen and be with clients that are potentially in a really vulnerable position and feeling lost and hopeless and not sure where to turn in their lives. They absolutely deserve a place where they can come. And this goes for everybody. They deserve a place where they can come and not be judged and have somebody value their worth without placing any conditions upon them. And I think that that is so fundamental. And UPR is something which, without UPR, I don't think the therapeutic relationship would work very well. If the clients felt in any way that we were judging them, then I don't think they would be open and willing to share. So for me, this is like a fundamental ingredient in this recipe. And the core conditions are very much a cocktail. They're a recipe. You know, we have our empathy, and we talked about that last time, didn't we? That it's not enough to just have empathy for somebody. We also need to make sure that we're communicating that empathy to our client so that they're perceiving it. That's really crucial. We're also thinking about UPR, Unconditional Positive Regard. Somebody sitting in front of us as another human being. And as I said before, the honour, feeling honoured to sit with somebody and feel that sense of everything that they're bringing into the room. And the other key core condition is congruence, which is all about being open and honest and genuine and transparent. And we could talk some more about that in another episode. I wanted to keep these core conditions broken up for you so that you've not got a great big long rambly episode, but some short episodes that you can dip into when you're not quite sure or when you need a little refresher. And so you could pick the core condition that you'll want to learn a bit more about and go in and be able to listen to that. So I want to sort of make it a little bit of a standalone episode. So to come back to my point, because I've gone off on a tangent as usual, what is it? How do we communicate to clients that we are not judging them? And I think what's really crucial about that is simply letting them know this is a safe space for you. It is a safe space where I'm not going to judge you. I'm not here to judge you. I would love it if you could share openly and honestly with me, because I think you deserve this place. I think you deserve a place where you can be totally you and not worry about me judging you in any way. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to be in it with you, human to human. And I think that's the most beautiful thing ever when you think about that and think about therapy. It is absolutely fundamental, in my opinion, and in the opinion of good old Carl Rogers, of course, but it is absolutely about that. How can somebody go into a room and share their deepest, darkest thoughts and tell the counsellor some of the things they might have done in their lives? And as I say, those things might not be what we would deem to be palatable or socially acceptable. How can they go and tell people and tell the counsellor if they're feeling as if they're going to be judged all the way through for that? That doesn't create a safe space. That doesn't create something that feels positive and a place for them to really share openly. That creates a place where they continue to be judged in the way that they're judged in society. And so I like to think that I try not to judge any clients. And I say I try not to because, of course, it is natural that we make a judgment the first time we meet somebody, don't we? We think, oh, they're a nice person, or they seem nice. That is a judgment. We're judging. We're making a judgment call about how we feel about them. And it's what we do with those judgments that's really important. And supervision is a really key function to this. You know, we need to be able to share in supervision what we're feeling about our clients. And I think that's, again, a fundamental, which is why I think those questions around how do you feel about your client Do you like your client? Do you enjoy working with them? Are really good questions for a supervisor to ask. You might be thinking, well, how can I work with somebody that's committed a horrendous crime and something which I couldn't sit in the room with? That's okay, because we all have our limits, don't we? We have our lines, our limitations within this, and we can't be all things to all people, and that is okay. So if there is a certain topic that you feel that you couldn't work with, it is okay to say no. It is okay to say, I'm not the correct person or the right person to work with you. But I have to say, in all of the years that I've done this work, it's been incredibly rare that I've not been able to work with somebody due to me feeling like I can't work with them due to what they've done. People come and they show their vulnerability, and there's something so special in that. And yes, not everybody is perfect. Nobody's perfect. We don't live in a perfect world. But sometimes people are trying to make that effort to change. They're trying to rebuild and regroup themselves and learn about themselves. And I really love being part of that journey with them. I enjoy that aspect of the work. But yes, there still may be times when you think, I can't work with that person because I'm not able to hold back on that judgment. I feel a sense of judgment because of something they've done. That's okay, because you're a human being and you can't help that. You can't help how you feel. It doesn't mean you need to be unkind to the person in any way. It's simply about recognising that you're not the right person to be with them and to work with them. But there are many, many people out there working in the prison service and in other services where they are successfully able to work with people that have committed crimes, that have done things that are not deemed to be socially acceptable. But when somebody sits in front of you and you see them as a human being, and you see that the path that they've walked is probably not been an easy path, which is what may have led them to behave in the way that they have behaved or to do the things that they've done. That is the thing about them being a human being. They're still another human. And we don't have to condone for a moment what somebody's done, but we can sit with them and see the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is they're trying to change. They're trying to better themselves. They're exploring. They're working hard. They're going deep. Isn't that just a wonderful thing when you look at it like that? And that is why I love sitting in that counsellor chair, and something which I find so unbelievably honouring and rewarding. And I think unconditional positive regard and this idea that we are going to accept and we're not going to judge. We're going to see them as another human being. That's really important. And so in terms of the question that I posed at the beginning is, can we genuinely offer unconditional positive regard to all clients? Well, I would say probably the answer to that, if I'm going to be honest, would be no. But I think I can offer, and we can offer, depending on who you are and what you've experienced in your life, I think we can offer unconditional positive regard to the majority of clients. And if I'm not able to offer true unconditional positive regard to a client, that doesn't mean to say that you won't be able to. So there'll always be somebody to work with somebody else. We're all just different, aren't we? And what I deem to be something that I can't work with, you might have no issue with. And so together, as a counselling community, we're providing a service that is really, really fundamentally key. And it is what helps people to make those really big changes in their lives. They deserve that because they're putting the work in. They're sitting in that client chair. And I think many of you listening will know how hard it is to sit in that client chair. Well, imagine if you turned up to your counsellor when you're doing your counselling, your personal counselling hours for your course, and you had felt judged by your counsellor. You'd felt they were judging you, or they didn't, they were looking at you as if they didn't think that you were worthy. Imagine how awful that would feel when you were putting yourself into that vulnerable position of sitting in that chair and trying to be open. And I think that if people get any vibe that we are judging them, they will close down, and understandably so, because it's a self-preservation mechanism. So, in a nutshell, it's about seeing the other person as a human. We're not going to judge them, we're going to be with them. And if we do find ourselves with any form of judgment, we could take it to supervision and we could talk about it. We don't have to be all things to all people, and that is totally okay. But I hope that helps, and helps you to see why unconditional positive regard is so key. And it's about making sure that your client knows that you're not here to judge them. Don't look shocked when they tell you the thing that they've done. Even if you are internally like a little bit shocked, try and keep and hold that back and be able to work through that yourself. That shocked look might be enough to create a shame where they recognise and it looks like you're judging them. So really be aware of your facial expressions and the way that you respond. Respond with kindness. Respond in a way that is accepting of them. But you don't have to condone what somebody has done in order to work with them. You can be with them as another human. I really hope that is helpful to you all, and a little bit of a reminder about what unconditional positive regard truly is, why it's so important that the client really feels it from you. It's a bit like with empathy. We need to find a way to show the client. It doesn't necessarily mean to say that we will necessarily say it. How many times can I say necessary or necessarily? What is really fundamental here is that they just know that you're not judging them. Whether you say that, I'm not here to judge and I'm here to understand and listen, or whether they just get that vibe because you feel safe, you feel like a safe person. You don't look shocked when they tell you something. You stay with them with kindness. So, the next episode I will make will be about congruence. So I will talk about that. Then I know that I've done all three of the main core conditions. And something I was sort of chatting about yesterday on Facebook was all about AI and whether AI and ChatGPT and all of these sorts of things can become somebody's best friend and become a therapeutic assistance for them. And so if you're interested in me making an episode about that, please let me know. A couple of people have said already that they would like me to. But yeah, I think that could be a really interesting topic. So I probably will finish off the 3 core conditions with congruence in the next episode. And then I might be able to then make an episode about AI. It's a really hot topic right now, isn't it? And it might be something that might be interesting to you. If it's not, then no worries, each to their own, right? But if you are interested, please do come and sort of connect with me on Facebook, and my Facebook page is always listed in the show notes below. If you have enjoyed this podcast and you have found it beneficial or helpful in some way, I would so love it if you could leave me a review on the platform of your choice. It just helps to get the podcast out there to more and more people. And I'm desperately wanting to reach as many student counsellors and other counsellors. Qualified counsellors often listen to these as well. So my whole community, I'm wanting to get it out there the best I can. So I just want to say, because it's right before Easter, I'm recording this literally right before Good Friday. For those of you that celebrate Easter, happy Easter to you all. If you don't celebrate, then I hope you have a wonderful few days until I come and record something else. But mind how you all go, and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.